Everybody wants to develop an iron chin, an iron jaw, and nobody wants a glass chin. But I'm going to share with you three biblical principles. Three biblical principles that are going to help you develop the iron chin: faith, a sound mind, and fearlessness. Also, trusting in Jesus Christ. Trusting in the Lord, that if the Lord is with you, you can do all things. Now, these three principles is what's going to help you develop that iron chin. Now, firstly, let's talk about how do you get an iron chin? How do you take a punch? Now, the only way you can learn to take a punch is, unfortunately, by being punched in the face. And the more you're punched in the face, the more you're going to develop the needed strength to be able to endure when you're punched in the face. You have something called a central nervous system, and your central nervous system is going to adapt the more you're punched in the face, and then you're going to be standing strong. But here's the catch: the more you're punched in the face, the more likely is you're going to quit boxing. You're going to the gym now, you're a beginner, and every time you spar, you keep getting cracked in the face. You're most likely going to quit. And that's why you need to have faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for with evidence not yet seen. So you have hope, you have faith that you're going to be a great boxer whose legs don't buckle when they get hit. You have faith that you're going to have good defense, that when your punches come towards you, you're going to slip them, you're going to roll them, you're going to be able to defend yourself. You have faith. And that faith that's taught in the Bible is what's going to be able to keep you going. Keep you going through that process. That's what it is. It's a process of learning the art of boxing. Now, the second principle, the second thing is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Now, as a Christian, when you say that, when you hear that, when you believe that, you really are empowered. Not just mentally, but physically. You're physically empowered. You're able to release more energy. You're able to be more authoritative in that boxing ring because you have self-belief. And this is something that has actually been studied, and how your mindset can translate. It correlates into your physical output. So this is a real thing. But let's look at Marvin Hagler. Now, Marvin Hagler was known to have a really solid chin, a really solid mindset, and he came forward. And what did Marvin Hagler say? He said, in order for you to knock me out, you've got to hit me with that ring post because I ain't going nowhere. Now, to me, hearing that, that's the same mindset that a Christian will have when he hears the verse, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. Because what they're basically saying is, if I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, that actually means, it's actually even higher than what Hagler's saying, because it means I have no limit. Hagler's saying that for you to show him a limit, you've got to break the rules. So, which was a bit of sarcasm. What he's basically saying is that there's no way in which you can knock him out. No way. So it's all about the mind. Hagler didn't say you won't hurt him, because anyone can be hurt. But Hagler said you won't knock him out. Do you get it? Because anyone can be hurt. Now, I'm trying to explain to you and trying to make you understand how having an iron chin isn't physical. It's more mental. It's more about your faith and your belief. Yeah? That's what it's more so about. And Hagler made it very clear. If you listen to what he's saying, he's not talking about, he said, you never said you wouldn't hurt him. He said clearly you weren't able to knock him out. Because if you hurt him, he will still come forward. And now we're going to move on to another verse. Okay, so there's two verses that I want to put together now. One is, I walk through the valley of death and I will fear no evil. Now, what that is saying is that no matter what is around you, no matter what the environment around you, you're not going to have fear because you know Christ, you know God is beside you, God is around you. So when you're boxing and you're in the ring and you get hit and you get rocked, you're not going to have fear. You're not going to murmur into a corner and start thinking negative and, he's going to knock me out. No, you're not, because you have a sound mind, which is the second verse. I do not give you a spirit of fear, but of power and a sound mind. So what that means is that a sound mind, when you're hit and you're rocked, you can still think clearly. Yeah, you can still think clearly. You still need to be able to think about what's happening around you. You're not going to be like, and crumble into pieces. No. Look at Floyd Mayweather. He was hit by Shane Mosley, big knockout puncher. When Shane Mosley hit him, Mayweather kept composed. He kept a clear mind. And what did he do? He held on to Shane Mosley. He smothered Shane Mosley. And then eventually he was able to outwork and defeat shamed Mosley because he kept his composure. He wasn't scared, he had no fear, and he kept pressing forward. Now, we're going to look at Amir Khan just to help illustrate these points. Amir Khan is a really good boxer, a silver Olympic medalist by the age of 17. But the gift that helped him, the physical gifts that helped him achieve that, was also what helps him not achieve having a solid chin, because he was rarely hit. So when he's beating all these guys with his fast hands and he's rarely being hit flush on his chin, what it meant was that his central nervous system never had to develop the inner strength to be able to withstand a punch. So now when he's at world level as a professional boxer and he's hit flush, he is often knocked to the ground because he never had to develop that strength. So that point is just illustrating, I'm just trying to illustrate what I was saying to you before about faith, because I know some of you might be thinking, who's this idiot? He doesn't know what he's talking about. But I do. The second point now with Amir Khan, a clear mind. Now, although Amir Khan is fearless, clearly, he's fighting Danny Garcia, and Danny Garcia hits him with a big left hook, and Amir Khan fell to the ground. But when he got back up, he saw red. His mind was not clear. It was filled with anger and rage, and he ran at Danny Garcia and he tried to pummel him back, and he told him, come on, come on. But eventually that led to his demise. But when you look at Floyd Mayweather, he did not do that. He kept a clear mind. He boxed him. He smothered him. He had to fight with tactics to get him from here to here, and eventually those tactics enabled him to get the victory. And now, to illustrate the point about Marvin Hagler, look at Hagler versus Thomas Hearns. Now, we fought Thomas Hearns and he had an epic battle for 3 rounds, and I think it was probably the greatest round of, was it the first round? The greatest round of boxing was the first round. But listen to this now. Hagler was given a really bad cut above his forehead, and that cut looked like he might get stopped. The fight might get called to a halt because he was really badly injured. But he ended up knocking out Thomas Hearns that same round. And that kind of, what's the word? Not demonstrates, that kind of, I can't think of the word right now, but that brings to life. That personifies the point. So it's that the word is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. In order for you to knock me out, you're going to have to hit me with that ring post. Hagler's not saying he wouldn't be hurt. He was hurt. He was hurt badly. He was bleeding out of his forehead. Yeah? But he was able to persist. He was able to push forward. He was able to keep going for the victory. Yeah? And as a Christian, if I'm in a ring and you're bleeding and you're saying, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, you're going to keep taking those punches. You're going to keep going forward. And eventually, you're going to get the knockout just like Marvin Hagler. So, I want you to understand, having an iron chin is something that's developed through years of training. It's not something that's developed overnight. It's not something that you're born with. Somebody might have a tendency to deal with more bigger punches than you do when you first begin, but a real iron chin is developed through years of training. Secondly, a real iron chin is a chin that isn't going to get tested that much. When it does get tested, it knows how to deal with it. So a real iron chin is not going to get rocked and then say, come on, let's have it, because then eventually you will be knocked out. But a real iron chin is going to understand how to strategically battle, how to have strategy when you fight. So when you are hurt, you're going to smother, you're going to be able to buy time and survive. And that's because, as the Bible teaches you, you have a sound mind. The last point is, you got faith, you got a sound mind, and you need to be fearless. You need to have zero fear. Now, in my experience boxing, whenever I see a boxer who seems to be scared, who doesn't have full belief, he's often very easily hurt in sparring or in fights, because the body doesn't want to be there. Your central nervous system can feel it, and it will easily shut down the moment you're given any meaningful force to the chin, because that's what it is. Being knocked out, it's your central nervous system shutting you down. There's no button. There's no button. Your body says, no, I surrender. Drop down into the rest position. Let us survive. That's all it is. But if your mind is so strong and you're like, I'm ready, that transfers into your CNS, and your CNS feels like, yeah, we're good. You hear me? But we're good. So there are 3 biblical principles which you can use to strengthen your chin. Now, every single week on Friday, I'm going to be releasing this video. I'm so sorry right now. My throat's a bit messed up. You can see I'm so tired, but I still delivered the content to you. So every Friday, if you're a Christian and you're also a boxer and you like these series, give me a subscribe, give me a video a like, drop a comment, and keep watching. Every Friday I'm going to be releasing these videos. But also, if you're in the London Forest Gate area and you like to drop in, then drop in for a real life physical boxing session, and I'll teach you boxing the Regal boxing way.